Well, my friends, welcome, welcome. This is another month of the new moon crystal ritual. I'm happy to have you here, and thank you for joining me. Um, we're zooming, and we're streaming on YouTube. So comments and questions I'll only be able to see inside the Zoom, but that's okay. Just setting the chat features. All right, good. All right, chat's open. For those of you joining me on Zoom, you can put it in the chat. For those of you joining me on YouTube, we will come back afterwards and check out the comments. So let's talk about getting started. I'd like to invite you to turn off your devices, close out any tabs you might have open. Allow yourself to be fully present for the next hour. And you can join me in lighting a ritual candle. And I will also be burning some sage. I did a nice sage burning in my house today. Long overdue. So, what are some of the things that you might do under the new moon to help set the energy for the upcoming 28 days? For me, my family's on vacation, so it was a perfect time for me to do that. My son doesn't like when I burn sage. Mm. But let's use the sage smoke now to release any and all baggage that might be coming with us, right? Now is not the time for us to deal with that. We're going to use the next hour to be fully present here, now, in the energy of the new moon in Leo. It's a gift. I mean, these moons happen every single 28 days. There are 13 of them in a year. And so we get an opportunity to start fresh, to rewind, reset, not necessarily rewind, that might not be the right word, but an opportunity to reinvest in our goals, in our objectives, whatever it is, our projects. And this is a nice reminder time to do that. Sometimes we get lost in the shuffle, overwhelmed by the to-do list. And again, this is a nice time just to reset, to get back into what it is we were doing. So as I'm burning the sage here, I invite you to close your eyes and do some grounding breaths, allowing yourself to become present, leaving the worries and fears that you have, the to-do list, leave it at the door. Close your eyes and just focus on breathing in and breathing out and noticing how the breath feels. Not changing it, not doing anything, just breathing, grounding and centering. This is our sacred space for the next 55 minutes. So as you join in, when you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back. And I remind you again to turn off your phone, minimize any um, tabs you have open on your computer or on your phone. Set your phone to do not disturb, which I'm glad I just said that because I have yet to do that for myself. And I would hate for calls to come in while we're here. All right, beautiful. I'm also going to turn off my ringer. Perfect. All right. So let's talk about the new moon in Leo and what it means, because this is a wonderful, wonderful moment in time because we have the new moon and new beginnings in the energy of Leo. So it's a sun sign, it's a fire symbol. And so there's a lot of vitality and creativity and personal power that comes with the energy of this new moon. So we're encouraged to tap into our own inner strengths, embrace our uniqueness, and shine our light in the world and be bright with it. A lot of times, um, we have these beliefs about ourselves that we aren't worthy, that we can't do, that we shouldn't be, that we're not enough. And those are just limiting thoughts and or beliefs that you might hold of yourself. And the new moon in Leo is really, really urging you to not believe them and to not give them power. So invest and explore your creative talents and pursue projects that help you express yourself authentically. It's a perfect time to take charge, to step into roles of leadership that maybe you've been saying, oh, I can't, and to assert yourself and your confidence. So, whew, those can be some big asks. So, working with that energy, allow it to draw you forward, right? Allow it to be the energy that is leading you, right? Allowing you to then be that thing. And take some time. Summer is, especially this part of the summer where some people are going back to school, some people are going back to work, some people, depending on where they live, might still have a few weeks left of summer. So find ways to reconnect with things that bring you joy, that feel playful to you, and things that brighten your heart and lift you up to that childlike place where time just disappears, right? Search for those moments, find those moments, and reconnect with the things that are passionate for you. So, this is the new moon, so it is the place for new beginnings. It is the place to plant your seeds of intention, to make the plans around what you want to manifest. And like every other new moon, it doesn't have to be starting fresh. It can be, but it can also be reconnecting with the things you wanted to do to get back on track. There are so many things that happen in a given moon phase. Between the priorities that you've set or the things that pop up because life keeps lifing or the people around you demand certain things of you, it's very easy to, over the course of the month, become disconnected or get off track. And so, this is your moment to come back, to set the intention, to plant the seeds, and revive and refresh where it is you want to go. So, maybe that's an intention you set back in January. Maybe it's something that you refresh and revisit every single month. Whatever it is, the new moon is the time to do it. So, the energy of the new moon is the darkness before the first light emerges, before the first crescent can be seen. So, technically, this is the darkest part of the moon, and we're not necessarily seeing the first glimpses of light, which you might be feeling an energy where you want to go within and be somewhat recluse, or you might be ready to start planting those seeds and tending to the energy. Whichever way it is for you is perfectly fine. It's just about being present. It's about having the intention, about setting intention, and then working forward from this place. I'm going to quickly introduce me for those who are new or aren't familiar with me. My name is Corissa. I am a crystal healer and a spiritual advisor for women. Most of them are empath and highly sensitive, and they find that the noise and the demands of the world really challenge them in being able to live life authentically for themselves, whether that be in having a practice with their crystals and tarot that feels empowering and personalized and very purposeful, or working through the limiting beliefs and the thoughts that they have about themselves or the negative voices in their heads that tell them that they can't or shouldn't or wouldn't or don't deserve or aren't worthy. So, I am the founder of Three Charm Gems. I host the Crystal Self Healer podcast. I also have a community in Facebook, and I also work with people privately within my Crystal Self Healer members portal. All of those places are meant to give you information, trigger you to be your best, highest version of yourself. And so, what I help my clients do is work through ritual. And we use our crystals. There will be 5 crystals that we introduce today that we use over the moon cycle. And we use those crystals for ritual and for crystal healings and for the work that we do to bring the lives that we want to be living to fruition. It's really lovely work that we do. So I'm going to introduce the 5 crystals that, if you follow me in my work, these are the crystals that I reference each and every week when I do the tarot readings inside the community, or the crystals that we use inside the portal when we're doing our crystal rituals and our crystal healings. So our first crystal is rose quartz. The new moon in Leo can be very bold, right? And so a lot of times we'll need some compassion to hold of and for ourselves because we're being encouraged to focus on heart-centered intentions that can be scary. They can be scary when you're listening to the habitual thoughts about not being worthy, about not having enough or being enough or knowing enough. Um, and so when you invite the energy of rose quartz in, it's going to help soothe those anxieties. It's going to help you align with the more playful and joyful energy that is Leo. And it encourages emotional openness and vulnerability because a lot of times, the number of times I've heard my clients or people in my community say, I'm too afraid to try because I don't want to look silly or I don't know what I'm doing and I just don't want to make a mistake. And Leo is very much about that joyful following of your whim, if you will. But if you're too scared to do it because you're sitting there and saying, I shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't, rose quartz is really going to help you work through those boundaries, those imaginary boundaries that you've put up for yourself. It's going to help you build self-worth. It's going to facilitate and enhance your confidence. And it's going to partner with 2 of the other crystals really, really well in this 5 crystal set. But yes, rose quartz, a lovely first crystal for us to work with. So, when we're talking about leadership and taking bold action towards our dreams, citrine is that next crystal. And it's a very summery, warm, sunny crystal. Very bright, very yummy. And so citrine is going to enhance your natural confidence and your leadership qualities so that you can assert yourself and pursue the goals that you have with determination. Determination is not the same as um, the grit that comes with um, like digging in your heels, right? That's not the energy we're looking for. We're not looking for tense energy. We are looking for the energy that is drawing you forward, pulling you forward, that is attractive, right? Not repellent by like, right? We talked about this in the Charmed community on Facebook in the card reading that we did on Monday. So this is very apropos for us right now. But citrine helps you with your imagination, your sense of joy, enthusiasm. It really stimulates your solar plexus. And so it helps you manifest and make real the intentions and the goals that you might set for yourself in this upcoming moon phase. Oh, so lovely. So lovely. Next, we have amethyst. This one is a little more cool. It's going to emanate and vibrate very similarly to the rose quartz, but in a different way, because amethyst is about your intuition and your higher self connection and divine connection, as well as calming and soothing of your energy field and allowing you to not feel stressed while you are achieving and working towards all these fiery goals that you hold, right? And so it's going to partner with the rose quartz because it's going to help you feel protected. And when you're feeling vulnerable, it's going to counteract that vulnerability because it is a crystal that's going to help you feel protected and um, connected, right? A lot of our fear thinking and our fear actions come from a sense of not feeling like we belong here in this space, in this world. And so, what happens as we grow up? A lot of us and are fortunate to grow up in environments where they feel somewhat stable. And I'm going to use the word somewhat because it's not the truth for everybody, right? But when you're a kid and you have food and you have clothing and you have routine and you have a house that you come home to every single day and you have a teachers that show you the way, right, wrong, or other. I'm not going to get into that. But when you have this sense of family or sense of community or sense of belonging, which many of us are privileged to have that when we're younger. But there's something about growing up and then having to do and fend and be for yourself that there is a certain point in our evolution through in psychology where we become self-conscious and we start to think of ourselves as outside. And so when we have those thoughts of not belonging, that will really trigger our anxiety, and it's really going to trigger the unworthiness that a lot of us carry around as adults. And so when you work with crystals that help you be vulnerable, but also help you feel protected, that is going to help you tap back into that unconscious knowledge that we had when we came into this world, that we are divine beings, that we do belong here, and that it is our divine right to live a happy, healthy, and fulfilling life. Our politics might not allow for it. Our family dynamics as we get older might make it challenging. Our cost of living might make us feel insecure in those things. And unfortunately, those are man-made constructs that feed the fear. And so our work is to really release the attachment to those man-made things. I'm not saying don't get a job. I'm not saying don't earn money. I'm not saying don't go to school and learn new things. But when we prioritize those things over our autonomy, over our sovereignty, over our divinity, that's when we create a disconnect from our soul purpose. And we then start to try to find it in work or in um, outside structures like institutions or politics or affiliations with groups. So, big thoughts there today. All right. The fourth crystal we're working with this month is Moonstone. Again, this is going to help with your intuition. It's going to partner with the amethyst quite nicely, but it's also going to help you tap into inner wisdom. Leo's energy is very expressive towards thoughtfulness and inspired actions, and Moonstone embodies that energy. It also supports bringing emotional balance and calm because you will feel more intuitive. You will feel more of the moon energy, right? The mysteriousness of being. And it's going to help foster growth. It's going to help transformation in alignment to your creative ambitions. It's also going to help and partner with the not the sunstone, with the rose quartz for compassion and empathy and a heart-centered focus. The moonstone. And this one likes to flash. I'm not sure if you're getting any flashing on your end. I'm seeing it on the back here, on the back side here, but and one more crystal. And this one is very much the fiery energy of Leo. So carnelian is a crystal that and it enhances and it complements confidence and courage and taking the bold steps that come also with Leo energy. This is going to stimulate creativity. It's going to encourage passion towards opportunities and projects and the pursuits that you have going on. This will stimulate your sacral chakra. And so this is also going to be really good for how you relate to the world. That's what your sacral chakra does. So if you are thinking about how you fit in or where you belong, this crystal really helps to feed that energy, and it helps you turn your intentions into actions and feeds the determination and focus. But it's also because it is that fiery creative energy that is also how and where you start to think about your relationships with other people and the world. It's going to work with curiosity that helps to be more bold in not allowing the negative thoughts to keep you hostage, right? These thoughts are habitual thoughts about belonging, habitual thoughts about believing. They're truths, and I use that word loosely. They're truths that we believe partly because we've been repeating them over and over and over again, or because they've been rooted in an experience that we had as a younger version of ourself. And so this crystal will stimulate your sacral chakra. It's going to help you be more childlike. It's going to stimulate creativity and also it might be it might challenge you in a way that a lot of the wounds we carry as adults are because of experiences that maybe weren't great when we were kids or we didn't understand, and so we interpreted it to mean something, and then we've carried that misinterpretation through into our adult years. So you might find that some of the um, back and forth between the softer crystals and the more ambitious crystals, that there's a bit of a conflict there. And that's why we have the three crystals that are more gentle and more soft that help soften or um, taper the boldness of the citrine and the carnelian. And you might find that some of the questions that come up for you during the meditation or the way that you're seeing things as you go through the next 28 days, that maybe some of them are a bit sore. And that's okay. It is okay to feel like these things are wounds that you don't necessarily want to touch. Trust in the crystals to help you move through any fears that do come up. All right. Whew, now that we know our crystals, this is the core piece of our time here together, because this is when we are going to really dive in to what this new moon is asking of us. So I am going to invite you to, if you don't already, pull out your crystals, find a comfortable spot to either sit or lie down, and close your eyes. Take a last minute to work through any stiffness or any wiggles that you want to get out before we do our meditation. The meditation is going to be about 15, 18, 20 minutes. So get comfortable, close your eyes, and bring your attention to your breath. We're going to do some cleansing inhales through the nose and exhales through the mouth. So breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. If you feel like sighing, please do. Again, in through the mouth, or in, sorry, my apologies. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And now let's just return our breathing to its natural path, allowing it to just be. Allow your spine to feel long, your shoulders to settle and drop back or down from your ears. Allow your chest to open and your mind to clear. With your attention on your breath, we're not trying to change it in this moment. We're just noticing the steady inhale and exhale, and sensing and noticing the natural rhythm of the air moving in and out of our body. With every inhale, feel the air filling your lungs, expanding your rib cage, and lifting your chest. With every breath, feel your weight settling deeper into the seat beneath you or the ground beneath you. And with every exhale, you deepen your relaxation and your sense in peace and calmness. shift your attention to the center of your chest, what we call the heart space. Imagine a subtle, steady warmth. And as you focus on this space on your body, feel the energy growing and gathering in your heart space. It isn't intense. It is not demanding. But it is the quiet flame of your heart. As you breathe, this flame is stoked. It's growing. It loves the attention. And as you inhale, it brightens. And as you exhale, it stabilizes. We are tending to our inner Leo flame that constantly lives in our heart space at all times. And stay here as we allow it to be nurtured. We allow it to grow into its natural size and space. I want to have you envision that this heart fire is outside of you as well. And it's almost like we have a campfire that we've just been tending to in front of us. We've added the proper kindling and we've added the appropriate logs and consumable products that feed the fire and allow it to burn. And as we observe the fire burning, I want you to hold the awareness in your chest, but also bring to mind any stagnant energy or heavy energy or unhelpful or hurtful things that have been going on that you've been carrying recently. These could be things that didn't go well over the last month, or these could be the emotional hurdles that you've been trying to overcome your entire life. They might be the form of doubt, of hesitation, the fear of being fully seen, or the habits of holding back your true voice. We're not judging, and we're not trying to push them away, but we are bringing them into our awareness to acknowledge. Also notice where the heaviness sits in your body, in your energy centers. Is it a tightness in your throat, a weight on your shoulders, knot in your stomach? Just observe. This physical expression of the thoughts and emotions is not permanent. It is not fixed. And it is not who you are. It is just simply how the energy has become stuck, waiting for the catalyst that will help it change shape. Take a deep breath in. Breathe into the awareness of the center of that heaviness. And as you exhale, with your mind's eye, I want you to pluck that heaviness out and toss it into the flame. Maybe those heavinesses have centralized in one spot, or maybe you want to do each of the locations where you felt it individually and toss it into the fire. Maybe sweep your energy and tossing whatever does not serve into the fire. Allow the fire to spit and grow as it accepts and welcomes these things that do not serve. You do not need to fight the heaviness, the feelings. You do not need to fight them to get rid of them. You only need to expose them to the highest heat, which will allow for and to create the transformation. With your mind's eye, I want you to see in front of you a version of yourself that you've been using in the world that doesn't fit. Maybe this is your shy version of yourself or the scared version of yourself, the one that's maybe lacking courage or confidence or self-autonomy. Maybe this is your wounded inner child. The version of you you don't want to be using when you face the world or go forward with your projects. And I want you to watch as that version of yourself walks towards the flame and steps into this fire. We are using the heat to transform, to transmute what isn't aligned in our highest and best good. There may be a sense of of scaredness, of fear, of sadness, uncertainty, as this version of you burns and turns to ash. Call in any of the crystals that will support you with this sense of uncertainty or fear or nervousness. Maybe you need to call in the amethyst or the moonstone or the sun or the rose quartz. Or maybe you want to add more fuel to the fire and throw the carnelian and citrine in here. But trust the process and allow these unexpected helpful, unserving versions of you to burn to ashes. We're going to allow this energy to transmute. And as you stare into the flame, you notice something moving. And what you're seeing is starting to take shape. You are transmuting yourself, and what you see in front of you is a phoenix rising out of the flame. All those old versions of you have been repurposed and transmuted into this glorious phoenix that is coming out of the flame in its fullness, in its ability to take flight, in its ability to see from a higher perspective. And maybe your phoenix takes flight and circles above the flames, flies around the room with you. Watch the phoenix in all its glory. We have used our inner flame, the fire of the Leo, the sun sign, to take our fears and our worries and transmute them into this glorious phoenix that will be with us as we move forward in the month. Do a body scan for me from head to toe or toe to head and tell me whether, no, tell me subconsciously, you don't have to say it out loud, but just observe how your body feels. Has the tightness released? Has the heaviness gone? You can repeat this exercise as many times as you need if you still feel spots that are heavy or needing attention. Maybe the phoenix has landed on your shoulder. Maybe the phoenix energy has integrated with you in your body. But just take inventory and stock of how it is that you feel and whether it's the same, different, or better than where we were when we started. You have faced the fire of transformation, and you have witnessed the change. You observed how effortlessly you can do this process at any point in time when you feel the weight of the world pulling you, holding you back, keeping you from where it is you're trying to go. Inhale deeply, drawing this new experience of energy into every cell of your body. Exhaling any remnants of the old version. and blowing them into the flame, allowing them the opportunity to transmute and change. Inhaling again and exhaling any remnants into the flames. Again, breathing in and exhaling as you blow any remnants into the flame. One more inhale and a nice deep exhale. In this new state of being, I want you to pick up the flame. It's now turned into a nice, manageable orb, a nice golden orb. And we'll reintegrate this orb back into our heart space, knowing that this is our internal flame. It is ours to nurture, ours to tend, and ours to use at any time when we need. Bring your attention back into your body, feeling the pressure of your body against the chair or the ground beneath you. Noticing the sensation of being supported and held. Wiggle your fingers, your toes, rolling your wrists and your ankles, your hips, your waist, lifting your shoulders up to your ears and allowing them to release. Maybe rolling them to the back, rolling them forward, turning your head to the left and then to the right, looking up to the ceiling and then dropping your chin down to your chest. When you are ready, gently open your eyes and allow your gaze to rest on something in the near distance as your focus comes back into, as your sight comes back into focus. I always say that one backwards. Take another inhale, filling your lungs entirely, and let it go with a long, soft exhale. Welcome back. I hope that meditation served you well. What we're going to do is we will now do the journaling portion of our time here. While you do it, I'm going to be covering off on the card pull. So we did a really exciting launch today inside the Crystal Self Healer members portal, and we dropped the Charmed Planner. And in the planner, you will find all the journal prompts that we talk about here. I will be putting them into the chat, but you do find them in the planner. There's a new moon worksheet that you can work through. And then the place for you to set your intentions. You don't need the planner, but it is a nicely contained space that helps you do everything we talk about here. So now is the time for you to either grab the new planner or your planner that you've been using or the notebook you've been using or the piece of paper and write down Let me get back to where I have those questions. We're going to be doing I don't know where I put them. I moved them. Goodness, it looks like I have removed them completely. Too funny. Too funny. All right. We're going to start by reflecting on the previous month. And we're going to chronicle and identify what it is that we've accomplished, what it is that maybe we didn't get done that we wanted to, what worked, what didn't work, and where you would like to do things differently going forward. And then I'm going to drop the next set of questions. Take a couple minutes to go through those prompts. And then when you're ready, you can go through the next prompts, which is moving yourself forward, which would be what would you like to manifest in the upcoming moon cycle? What is it you are committing your focused attention on? And while you journal on those topics, I'm going to talk about the Moonology card and the card pull that I did before we started here today. So the new moon in Leo is about shining. It's about moving from darker experiences into lighter experiences. And a lot of this comes from your ability to believe in yourself and that you are on the right track. So when you are exploring where it is you want to go, definitely tap into creativity and carry yourself with respect so that you start seeing it in the world around you. Because when we no longer allow ourselves to be small, or when we no longer allow ourselves to be overlooked because we didn't speak up or we didn't show for others, communicate to others what is of importance to us, that when we start to actually do those things of and for ourselves, then we're going to actually see people extending that courtesy to us because will no longer be available to not having those things presented to us. And then when we go to the next card, that this is from the Rider-Waite Tarot, which is the Five of Swords. This card is very interesting that it's showing up on this new moon for this reading because it represents conflict. And the conflict could be between how you see yourself and how you want to be, or it could be the limiting thoughts that you have of yourself and about yourself, or how you speak to yourself. The conflict doesn't have to be external. It can be, but we have to recognize that the swords, the suit of swords, is very focused on how we think and feel about things. This isn't the cups though, but it's how you think about things that creates the feelings and the emotions that create the conflict. So when you look at the card, there's something hollow in the victory that the central figure seems to have achieved. And while they've collected all the swords and the opponents are walking away, the water is still choppy and the skies are still gray with angry clouds. And so it's a kind of hollow victory. And perhaps the battle that was done was driven by ego or scarcity or a fear of loss or a false belief or a negative belief about themselves. So the new moon in Leo is this time for you to transmute these lower vibrational thoughts, the mental constructs that you have that have created the conflict that you feel and see with others. And these are the things that keep you in a defensive state. So use this moment, this energetic moment of the new moon in Leo with this fire energy to drop your weapons. Those maybe those self-deprecating thoughts that you use on the regular, or the way that you talk to yourself, the defensiveness, and allow it to transmute, right? We walked it through, we did it in the meditation. And let's use this month and use this time to put these weapons that maybe served a purpose when we created them, but maybe they aren't the tools that we need to move forward. Transmute them using your flame so that any negative emotions can be processed, and you are then able to find your heart-centered authority. It's a good reading, right? Oh, friends. All right. So, by all means, keep journaling. The the spiritual law we worked with today is the law of perpetual transmutation. It's a lot of words there. But energy does not disappear. When something changes, we look at the seasons, right? And a flower is like a flower is not a flower. It starts as a seed and then it grows and it becomes the flower. And then when its season is over, it becomes it rots and becomes the fertilizer for the next sequence and series of things that come forward, right? So the energy of the flower is never really dead. It is just transmuted into its new expression and new experience. And maybe it's the seeds that it propagates for a new blossom, or it could be that it becomes the fertilizer for a new plant that we seed. So we need to remember that when we are shedding old energy, it is up to us to transmute it into a usable format for ourselves. And that's what we did again in our meditation today. And so, what I want to invite you to is joining me on the journey inside the Crystal Self Healer members portal, where we work with the lunar energy to facilitate this monthly transformation. And we work through the cycle of the moon phase, where we work on momentum and then we work on full expression and healing. And then we go into that nurturing and tending phase in the third week of the moon phase before we come back here again next month for the new moon. And so if you are looking for that opportunity to work with whatever intention you've set today, whatever energy you've tapped into by being on this meditation journey and working through the journal prompts and um, doing the assessment of your reality. I'm just going to put it that way, for lack of better words, and being short on time. But we don't have to struggle. We don't have to be in a space of feeling less than or not being capable of. And if you're ready to transform and be more courageous, be more confident, and use your crystals and your tarot to get there, come and join me inside the Crystal Self Healer members portal. I will be dropping the links. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to my website and learn more about it. All right, copy these things. Or if you are wondering whether it is the right thing for you, you can always book a complimentary intuitive clarity call, and we can talk about where you are, what's getting in the way, and how the portal will help you get to where you're trying to go. And with that, my friends, oh, what a fun time we have had here today. I want to thank you for joining me here today. We are going to be closing our sacred space and returning back to our regular days. I hope that you have taken from our time together everything that you need to have the most fantastic moon phase ahead, the upcoming month. And if you are looking for guidance and support, I invite you to come join me inside the Crystal Self Healer members portal. All right, my friends, have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.